Hello, this is Howard Cooper from Rapid Change Works, and today we're looking at the question, does hypnotherapy really work? Now, I often get asked this question, which kind of amuses me because, look, as a hypnotherapist for over 17 years, having helped all sorts of people with hypnosis, the question to me is obviously yes. And it also strikes me as a funny question because if someone finds out what I do for a living, it would be odd then to question whether it works. I mean, if I worked as a dentist, upon finding that out, it would be a little odd if people said, yeah, but does dentistry actually work? So it led me to think, like, what is it about hypnosis in the world of hypnotherapy that means that it kind of is understandable that people would ask that? Because I kind of get it. Because hypnosis in the world of hypnotherapy, I think, has a number of misnomers and misconceptions about what it is and how it works. And if you've never really studied it or looked into it or have much knowledge about it, and maybe some of the stuff that you've come across has been from, seeing the way it's portrayed by the media, it might seem almost like a fantastical thing. And you may have questions like, does it really work? It might seem normal. So let's kind of handle some of that. Well, first of all, where are some of these ideas around hypnosis and hypnotherapy actually coming from? So listen, this is not an exhaustive list by any means, but look, you've got televised stage hypnotists who get people to cluck like chickens. That's kind of one aspect. We've got Hollywood movies that maybe depict hypnotherapists or hypnotists as malevolent, mind-controlling voodoo experts. And then also people often are out with friends. This is the pub talk or the social chit-chat. Where they're out with a friend who says, my friend X or Brian or Stephanie, she got hypnotized for stopping smoking and it didn't work. They couldn't get her under. And obviously, again, while that's not an exhaustive list, this does kind of demonstrate the typical misunderstandings that come up about hypnotherapy that people might have. These are the misunderstandings that, number one, there's this idea that hypnosis or hypnotherapy is something that's done to you, that the hypnotist will put you into a trance or something like that, which is not true. It also portrays hypnosis as like a strange mindless state where now you're under someone's complete control. And again, I don't believe that's true. And the other idea is that it kind of conveys this idea, doesn't it, that the only reason perhaps someone wasn't able to stop smoking is that the supposed hypnotist didn't get them under. They weren't in the right state. Now, I don't believe that any of those understandings of hypnosis are actually true, but of course that then would lead someone, if they're watching this, to go, well, all right, if it's not that, what is hypnosis? So what actually is it? And now all I can do is give you what it is to me. Because here's the thing, if you asked 100 different hypnotherapists and hypnotists the answer to this question, you might have 100 different answers or variations. So all I can do is share with you what I believe hypnosis is, based on over 17 years of practice, helped over 2,500 people and rising, with a wide range of different issues, so weight loss, insomnia, depression, fears and phobias, anxieties, panic attacks, much more besides. But here it is in a nutshell. The way I look at this is hypnosis is when you become so absorbed in something imagined that your body begins to respond as if it were real. I'll say that again. Hypnosis is when you become so absorbed in something imagined that your body almost responds as if it were real. Let me give you an example. Have you ever had the experience where someone takes a blackboard and then they take their fingernails and they reach across and just... Now, as I kind of mimed the scraping of my fingers down that blackboard, many of you who are watching may even have had a real squirmy feeling inside. I've had people all the time when I do that as a demonstration and they'll go, oh, don't do that, don't make that sound. But of course, there really was no sound, was there? There also really was no blackboard and there really were no fingernails scraping it. So if you had a real physical response, it wasn't coming from the blackboard and it wasn't coming from the scraping sound. It was coming from your thinking that you got very absorbed into for that split second and your body kind of responded as though it were really happening. That for me is hypnosis. And notice you didn't have to walk down 10 imaginary steps, deeper and deeper and deeper, in order to have that response. Nor did you have to relax every single part of you. It just kind of happened. For me, hypnosis is a naturally occurring function. You became very absorbed in something and you had a real response. So that, for me, is the essence. This isn't about having your eyes closed and so on, but so what is it that people come for when they embark with me on hypnotherapy and hypnosis? Well, here's the thing. A lot of people, and I've had this a fair number of times, they'll come in and they'll sit in front of me and they'll say something along the lines of, well, I don't think I can be hypnotized. And then they'll proceed to tell me a story. For example, you know, I'm terrified of dogs, and every time I think about dogs, I feel anxious. And the reason I think that's kind of amusing, or even, dare I say, ironic, is if you look at the mechanism of how they're doing their fear of dogs. I could point to the corner of the room and say to them, in my office, how would you feel if there was a dog over there? And in my office, when there is actually no dog, they suddenly go, oh, oh, and they start having a real response to an imagined dog. That's hypnosis. They're doing self-hypnosis. Chances are, for however long they've been having all sorts of thoughts in their head, like imagining dog attacking them, or imagining dog biting them, or even constructing in their mind that time from previously where a dog did something bad. And instead of seeing them as just thoughts, they've got so deeply absorbed into them that their body's responding as though they're real. For me, that's hypnosis. They've been self-hypnotizing themselves into the fear. It's the same mechanism. So they're sitting there on one hand saying, I don't believe I can be hypnotized. However, the last 30 years, they've been hypnotizing themselves using the same mechanisms to create the fear or phobia. So that's why I think it's ironic. And sometimes my job is not to hypnotize people in that sense. It's almost to dehypnotize them out of the current state, a phobic or fear or anxiety producing state that they're already in. The problem state they're in, they're doing it themselves. And I show them how they can stop. Or I use hypnosis and the function of becoming absorbed in thinking to show them how they can build a better, stronger, more powerful, more compelling narrative. Something that actually is useful for them to get absorbed in. So for me, you know, the idea is not really, does hypnosis work or does hypnotherapy really work? For me, hypnotherapy as I defined it, or hypnosis as I define it, is working all the time. It's a naturally occurring phenomena. These are just mechanisms that are working all the time. It's in the very essence of how you make meaning in the world. So the better question to ask is this. Now you know that hypnosis and hypnotherapy actually works. The question is how can you harness this naturally occurring phenomena to get really good results and to help you make changes? So that's the question to ponder. As always, follow these videos. If you like them, click subscribe, click the bell so you get notifications when the next one's up. And if you want any help or support with anything personal or interested in changing anything, get in touch at www.rapidchange.works. It'd be great to hear from you.